I want to be the reason that this team can't beat a team that is stomping and shouting that they are coming for you. You want to make sure that if you lose, it's because of somebody else, not yourself. And Dwayne Wade accepted that challenge. By the way, we're sitting here, and we got a guy like Lance Stevenson sitting right over there, 13 points,
Stephen
9
A, look
rebounds.
behind you. We're being bombed.
Oh, my goodness.
Come on in, Roy.
I'm not scared of Roy. I'm not scared of Roy, okay? I mean, he's a big boy. He's a big boy. But I don't have to defend against Roy Hibbert. I don't have to defend him in the
post. He might need to come on home real soon. Got the Beijing going on right here.
By the way, would you like to point out on national television that my hairline is actually a little better than LeBron? I'm just saying, since you getting on me.
Your hairline's been consistent for the past 3 years. I'll say that.
Your hairline has been consistent for the last 3 years. It's the battle of the bad hairline. Stephen A, I didn't appreciate it. I thought your hairline was fine.
I'm gonna get Roy for that. He blindsided me with that, and Coach Carl knows I'll get Roy Hibbert back at the opportune time. I'm not gonna let that slide. But you know they got me. Listen, I'm in my 40s. These guys, they don't understand. Roy Hibbert, how are you gonna be looking in the next decade? I've been getting on Dwayne Wade. He's getting on me about being in shape and the whole bit. But Dwayne Wade, once he get in his 40s, Skip, I mean he might be a little bit rotund. You just don't know. LeBron James, we understand. Look, LeBron James, guys are getting on LeBron James too much. His hairline, it might be back there a little bit, but you know something? He still looks good, and on top of it all, he's got a big square head. Me, I got a little noggin in the back. I got a beak for a nose. I gotta go to George Jefferson route. I'll be the first to admit it. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm gonna have to do that.
But wait,
I'm gonna have to do that because I can't go bald.
But you suggested that your hairline is better than LeBron's.
Wait a minute.
Well, what I'm saying is that, you know, I look at his it's fading a bit.
It's fading.
But he still looks better with his. I'll give him credit for that. Plus he's built, so that kind of disguises it. I'm a slim dude who needs to get in better shape. Plus, I'm not that attractive. I mean, what do you want me to do?
Coach Carl is joining us. Coach, would you look good with a George Jefferson?
What about there's no gray hair. Is there some Rogaine in there or what? What's the story up there?
No, I swear, Coach, I swear to you, I've never used that stuff in my life. But I am entertaining Hair Club for Men or something along that line. Rogaine or something. I got to hold on to it, Coach. I got to hold on to it.
All right, let's fast forward to the Eastern Conference Finals, okay? We're just projecting here. You watched the game last night. You watched how the Heat slowly chipped away at that 15-point deficit. They shut down Hibbert in the second half. And actually, the Pacers really struggled. So if you had to coach and you wanted to give someone the upper hand in a 7-game series, who would win?
Well, I think today, when they watch the film of the game, I think Indiana is taking away more good, and Miami is seeing more weaknesses in that game. My belief is Indiana, for 35 minutes of that game, was the better basketball team. And the great player, and with a lot of help from Wade, but a great player willed a victory over a very good basketball team. Now, it's December, and to really get crazy on comparisons and what's going to happen and where this is going to go. But, you know, right now, if I'm in Vegas and I have to bet today, I'm betting on the Indiana Pacers.
Wow. Ooh, I like it.
And what weaknesses would Miami take away from the film?
I think Spoelstra in the game showed us that he has to play big. Birdman and Bosh, up until that game, played 20 minutes the whole season together. Last night, I don't know exactly how many minutes they played together, but Bird played 27 minutes, and I'm thinking over 10 they were on the court together because Spoelstra knew he could not beat West and Hibbert with small. And that's what's Indiana done. Indiana's done a great job of putting size on the court, long athletes on the perimeter, so they control the 3-ball with the long athletes, and the big guys control the paint. And Wade and LeBron won that game last night because Hibbert's presence defensively wasn't on the court. But the control, the confidence of the game still, I think, was in Indiana's hands. And then a great player at the end of a game, down 5, finds Bosh, and he makes a great penetration, takes Bosch's defender to him and throws it back. Bosh has been 1 for 13 before that shot. And, you know, he had enough time to knock it down. And then in the defensive end of the court, you know, when they tied the game, Ray Allen's 3, Indiana ran its favorite play. And LeBron disrupted it. he knew the play, and then physically he disrupted
I thought
the play.
George Hill made a bad read and a bad pass.
George Hill, I mean, I think you talked a little bit about a weak link. George Hill, when he plays well, when he gives Indiana a 10-7 game,
Sure.
they beat everybody.
I agree.
It's when
How
you don't feel
consistent
them, when you don't have
is
a
he, though?
pulse,
Yeah.
you can't find
31
him.
minutes, 1 assist.
Yeah.
And again, I thought LeBron did get momentarily picked on the back pick, and he had a half step at least on him, but he curled into the lane, and I guess George Hill read corner 3.
LeBron's strength to get through the screen,
It was
the off-centered pass caused the turnover.
All right, Coach, before we give it to Stephen A., what do the Pacers do to win next time? A game in that situation?
I don't think they do much more than play more with more confidence and more togetherness. I mean, I think in the end, LeBron's greatness and specialness, I think his heart, I think LeBron's competitive heart and will won that basketball game.
Wow. All right, Stephen A.?
Well, I agree with them, but I'd also add Dwayne Wade's Herculean effort also played a role in it as well. And of course, Chris Bosh showed up, too, with a couple of big-time shots. That three-pointer he hit was the first time he hit it in his last 14 tries, but you show up in big moments. This is who the Miami Heat are, and it's really just that simple to me. But I look at the Indiana Pacers as a team that can beat. I'm not ready to definitively say they would beat the Miami Heat, but I know they can beat them. I would definitely anticipate a 7-game series, and if indeed the Indiana Pacers were to have the number 1 seed in the East and grab home court advantage throughout the playoffs, let me tell you something right now. You've got to ask yourself, how sure are you that the Miami Heat would beat the Indiana Pacers on their home court in a Game 7? I'm not so sure. Now, I would have went with Miami last year because Indiana had not been in that position. But you lost to them in 6 games the year before. You lost to them in 7 games last year. There does come a point in time, and I'm sure, Skip, that Coach Carl will agree with this. There does come a point in time when it's your time. We watched the Philadelphia 76ers in '83 and all of those questions about when was the doctor going to finally get his first world championship. They closed that deal. Then you had the Lakers in Boston, and you questioned whether or not when Isaiah Thomas and Joe Dumars and the Bad Boy Pistons were going to break through. And then they beat the Boston Celtics. And I never forget that game at the Pontiac Silverdome when McHale is walking off the court and he reaches out to shake hands with Isaiah Thomas. Coach, you remember this. And he was telling Isaiah, it's your time. Handle your business. And then after that, they went to the finals, lost because Isaiah Thomas hurt his ankle in Game 6 when he dropped 41 on the Lakers. But then they came back the next year, finally beat the Lakers. And then they were knocking on, and then they won the 2 championships. But it was Jordan's turn. And what happened? Isaiah and them walking to Chicago and said, Chicago wanted us. They got us. Here we are. And Michael Jordan and Pippen and those boys finally got tired of waiting, and they swept them. And then it was the Jordan era. You know, I mean, you see stuff all the time when it comes to NBA basketball. Your time just appears to have arrived. I'm not saying that that's the case with the Indiana Pacers. I am just saying that in the month of December, when we have all of these months to look forward to before May and June, we can't definitively say that their time has not arrived yet. By May, it may be their time because it looks like it's going to be tough for Miami.
You buying that?
I am.
Is it their time?
Well, what I saw in the game last night is a dedicated basketball team. I mean, Indiana last year was committed to see how good they were. And I see in Indiana now a dedication to the journey that they have to go through, that they learned about last year, that maybe learned about 2 years ago. And they know they have to be more dedicated and more focused than the Miami Heat. Mm-hmm. They can't just be equal. They got to be more focused and more committed. And I think they are. I think Coach Vogel has done a great job of leading this team in mental focus and mental discipline and mental commitment. But Miami might be sometimes a little too cool for me. And I think the size factor versus speed. It's a game of size. Indiana has size all over the place. They dominate with size in a lot of different ways. On the perimeter with their length. With David West on the post up. Yep. David West had a great second half going last night. Stevens had a good first half with his size against a smaller guard. So it's a size versus speed game. Miami's got to get in the open court. They got to get into a fast-paced game. And I'm going to tell you, if Indiana doesn't turn the ball over in that first quarter, that game could have been 15 or 20 points. The turnover was a factor early in the game, and Miami got some confidence because of the turnover. But once Indiana got composed and in control, they dominated.
Okay.
They got a 14 or 15-point lead early in the second quarter. And there was frustration on Miami. The body language of those two teams,
Yes.
the team that had bad body language and confusion was the Miami Heat. It wasn't the Indiana Pacers.
All right.
Last quick point, back to your initial point, and I know you disagree, but my take was LeBron was terrific in the fourth quarter as the quarterback. He ran the point. He created 4 huge assists. And yet, Dwayne Wade's return to being Dwayne Wade was huge for that basketball team. He scored 18 in the second half. He destroyed Lance Stevenson. Remember, Lance had 11 in the first half. He wound up with 2 in the second half because his hands were full trying to fight off Dwayne Wade. Well, that's a difference, and it gives LeBron a support system that improves his confidence and his energy. Everything rises because Dwayne's back.
I think the Miami Heat has got to think about LeBron James has too much responsibility to direct this basketball team. They need
Totally
Dwayne
agree
Wade.
with you.
Totally true.
Chris Bosh needs to play better.
Yeah.
And do they have to add one more guy along the way that can help? Because if you're asking LeBron to do everything every night in every game, he's going to wear out.
Michael Beasley.
Michael Beasley, I agree. He will help a little
Beasley, Odin.
I'm being told that the coach
Yes,
has to
he's
get out
gotta
of here.
go.
Other people would like to
Yes.
talk with you as well. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you a little later on in the show. Coming up next, folks.